Okay, it's June 17th, 2020. Found another box turtle, 5:57 in the morning. And it was over by my log pile. This one's super timid. You can come back in 5 minutes later and it's in the same spot. And on the bottom here, there's some marks here past the hinge, which is very distinctive. So what I threw is measured the mass is 881 grams. It's timid because I don't need to use a brick on the tearing up with the scale. The length of the shell is 168, dome height 78, width is 128 millimeters. There's the LD ratio, which is the length over the dome, 2.15. So I went through and looked at my chart that just lets me find out quickly which one it could be a pass earler entry, dome height versus length, and it's up in this region here. And I came up with a possible candidate at number 25, which it's not because it has some other features. It's not number 31 because there's a notch on that, and then 20 looked fairly suspect here because it's close, plus it's a female. So I went through and looked at this number 20 here. Females, timid, that's another sign. And I went and actually looked at an older video and identified by the mark underneath the hedge is on the older video, just like that. Plus the shell pattern's the same. So got a positive ID because of the dimensions are a clue that it's a past turtle I've already got cataloged. Plus the hinge here marks some type of damage or something there. Here's another clue. Plus then looking at the older video and looking at the pattern of the spot pattern. So this is number 20. Hasn't been seen for almost 3 years. So this is kind of how sometimes this goes. I've got a first entry here, and I have 3 entries in 2017. Get 780 grams, 733, 738, and here it is about 3 years later, 881 grams, a little bit more. It's in the same spot. Pear tree, pear tree, pear tree. So it hasn't moved more than 20 feet for the last recovery. So it probably lives under the log pile. And the disposition actually means a lot, because a lot of these, if they tend to, sit in one place or something, that's a clue. They all have different dispositions. This one over here was a biter, which means it was always trying to bite. So these are wild box turtles. Got a positive identification. Again, on this chart, this is just a collection of current data. It allows me to go through and find a turtle that's been recovered or just discovered, look at the length and dome height through here, find it, and look at these to see if it's the same as an older one. And so with time to get to be bigger. So 20 is here, and the new, I'll revise the point on my chart a little bit later. So it's gone from 74 millimeters the dome height to 78, so it's got 4 millimeters higher in 3 years. The length has gone from 165 to 168, 3 millimeters longer, and the width's gotten about 10 millimeters. Now these dimensions of the width and length are kind of a little bit hokey in the sense that they're fuzzy, because you've got this shell which tends to get worn if it rubs against something. So it can actually get smaller with time if it's been chewed on due to damage. Plus you have things like, oh, here, right here on the front, you've got to where it's worn down. The dome height is actually a better variable to use. And this is a female. The ones that have a high dome height to the length tend to be females, or down in this range. Males tend to have a very high long length compared to their height. The dome is across. I measure across here with a big caliper. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. And then there's also the yellow arms there. The females here tend to have yellow arms. And there was one of the other ones that got hit by a mower a couple yards over, had the arms were totally black, and that was a male. So I don't know if that's a totally indicator. You just have to use clues. Eye color seems to be hard to identify, because here it's in the morning, we've got all the blue light from the sky, and a lot of times they tend to be boxed up. And there it is, that's number 20. Hasn't been seen for 3 years.